What perfect conditions to pick up another convertible Porsche in. Hello one and all, welcome to Seen Through Glass. It's all starting to feel a bit familiar, isn't it? It's only a few weeks ago that I was down here at Porsche's UK HQ test driving their 992 Turbo S. Well, I'm back, but this time to pick up this 718 Spyder, which Porsche have very kindly lent me for the next 5 or 6 days. I'm super intrigued to check this car out because I've always had a bit of a soft spot for the Boxster Spyder, and this is kind of like the third iteration or generation of that car, and it's the closest it's come to its hard-top big brother, the Cayman GT4. But before we drive this thing away, Porsche have also thrown me the keys to this. Welcome to a Taycan Turbo, Porsche's first all-electric car. Now, I have actually driven a Taycan before. In fact, early this year, during a photo shoot for the eventually doomed Geneva Motor Show. I say doomed because it was cancelled like so many other events due to coronavirus. I didn't film that kind of test drive experience because it wasn't really a test drive. I was just moving the car between different photo locations. It wasn't very engaging or exciting, and I also didn't feel like I really got the chance to experience this car properly. But the very limited time I spent with it, I kind of really liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would. So today, before I disappear down the road to somewhere dry in the 718 Spyder, I thought I'd be a cliched version of myself, take the Taycan Turbo to get a coffee. Now, one thing I'm going to say, which is very much down to my own personal taste, is I'm not sure I love the spec of this particular Taycan. It's very British in the sense it's very grey. I mean, it's grey on grey. I mean, everything is grey, which I think is a bit of a shame because I love the design of this car. I think it's iconically Porsche, yet futuristic. You see it and you go, that's a Porsche, but a Porsche from the future. And in fact, the very first time I saw the Taycan was out in America. One of the Porsche product guys says the part of the car that excites him the most is the amount of spec options you can choose, and he couldn't wait to see what customers would do with the car. So I feel like an all-grey car is just a tad bland, but that is my own personal opinion. Anyway, let's start this thing up. Obviously, being an all-electric car, there's no big roar from the engine. That's it. It is on. As you can hear, the radio starts playing, and we could rock and roll if we wanted to, but I want to show you what I think is a great feature of this car, a feature which has been called a little bit gimmicky, but I don't care because I'm a fan. There we go, electric sport sound. So if I turn that on, when I go into drive mode, I hope the microphones are going to pick it up, but the car starts to emit this kind of like very low-end bassy hum. Let's give it a go. Let's see if the microphones pick it up. Are you getting that? It's like a warble. It doesn't sound like an engine, of course, and I don't think it's trying to replicate an engine. It's like almost like a sort of UFO. It's like, what I love is not only do I feel like this enhances the driving experience, but it also enhances the experience from the outside. You hear the car coming. And that was the coolest thing about when we were moving it around the old town in Geneva. I was outside taking photos and you could just hear this thing. That is cool because not only does the car catch your eye, but it catches your ear. How amazing. Anyway, right, let's come out of there, go back into home, seatbelts on, and go and find myself a coffee shop. Tunnel! Did you pick that up? I mean, that's no joke. I just went through a tunnel with the window down so that I could hear my electric vehicle. I really hope it's coming across because it's not loud, but it's rewarding for me personally because most other EVs either sound like milk floats or just like nothing. So there's no reward for sort of driving, whilst this, it lets me know when I'm accelerating. Sometimes let me know if I've accelerated too hard and I should slow down because, by God, is this thing fast. But yes, it's so good. Anyway, one thing I have to say is that I do like electric vehicles in general. It's an important thing for me to admit or announce. I actually had a Renault Twizy for about 3 months in London a couple of years ago, and that thing was brilliant. I think in town, why does anyone need an engine anymore? They seem a little bit just old school. I think when you're cruising around the city, go electric. But of course, there's still a question mark over sort of the longer journeys, and then for us kind of petrol heads or enthusiasts, is driving these cars fast still going to be as fun as a petrol engine? I don't know because I haven't really had a chance to thrash an EV. But this thing is so fast and so capable I think surely yes. The answer is yes. As the technology keeps getting developed, these cars are just going to get better and better to drive. The one thing which I like though about the Taycan is it feels quality, because this particular car is not cheap. It's actually £131,000 for this car I'm driving today. But it feels quality, and of course the weight of the batteries adds that kind of solid feeling. But there's something else that Porsche have just been able to engineer just to give it that sort of that nice high quality experience. Anyway, here we go, another tunnel. What am I doing? Why am I doing tunnel runs in an electric vehicle? I don't know. One other thing I have to say I'm a fan of with the Taycan is its size. When it launched, I thought it'd be comparable to like the Panamera, but it's a lot more small and compact. Think of it as like 3 Series, borderline 5 Series, rather than big 7 Series. It's a little bit tight in the back, but it's just easier to maneuver around town. And I have to say, I'm coming around to the grey. It's just a good looking car, and I thought maybe a bit boring and bland, but just standing out here now and looking at it, it's just good looking. It's a good looking car, doesn't matter what the colour. Also, this is very good coffee. Cup. They have it here and they also have it in Bristol. Check it out. So I feel like we've established that the Taycan is very good around town, very usable, very nice to be in when you want to go on a quick coffee run. But what happens when you want to take the long way home, or in my case, the long way back to Porsche UK? Well, I don't think you're going to be disappointed, because quite ridiculously, this thing has pretty much the same performance stats on paper as the 992 Turbo S I drove a few weeks ago. We are talking about 625 horsepower, 680 on launch, we'll come back to that, and 850 Newton meters of torque. That means 0 to 60 sub 3 seconds, or circa 3 seconds more likely, and oh my god, the ability to get places incredibly quickly. The way this thing feels on the road is fantastic, and that's what I love about what Porsche have done here, because they didn't just go out and make an electric vehicle, they made an electric Porsche. This is still a really good car to drive. However, and there are some major howevers, that electric sport sound mode that I was harking on about loving so much in town, it's not enough out here. Once you start pushing on, it's still strange to be going so quickly, so quietly. It doesn't quite compute in my head, and it's more of a sort of, well, I don't know, it's something to get used to. Secondly, Regen. Now this is something you're going to hear a lot about once people start reviewing more and more electric sports cars. If you don't know what Regen is, or if you've never driven an electric vehicle before, essentially, the minute you come off the accelerator, the car starts to regenerate, harvest energy, and that basically means it feels as though the car is braking, slowing down quite violently, but you're not pushing anything, you're just not accelerating. Now Porsche realised that their sort of driving enthusiast, their purist customer, probably wasn't going to like that sensation, because it is alien, it doesn't feel very authentic. So I've got a little switch here on my steering wheel. If I push that, basically reduces the harvesting sensation, giving me a more authentic driving experience. However, I don't quite think that it still feels odd. I don't trust the brakes in the same way. It would take me longer, I think, to get used to. The acceleration, the launch is like fantastic, great. The speed, even though there's no sound, I can get used to very quickly, because it's not that different, quite ridiculously, to the Turbo S. But the braking, I just need a bit longer to get really confident with it. And then I would worry that if I got back into a normal car, I would then have to adjust to that. So it's just a sort of, a new age thing. And oh, that's a very nice old Jaguar. Hello, my friend. Well done, sir. What a spec. And the surprises you found out in the countryside by Reading. In fact, this is a really nice, this is a lovely village. Oh, I'm going to take some photos. There's something about a really futuristic car in an old English setting, which I just think is banging. So yeah, sorry, fast review section of the video on pause whilst I take some lovely photos. this launch control. Oh my God. That's the full 680 horsepower and oh, it feels outrageously fast. I have to come slamming on the brakes because there's a bit of a flood in the road. I mean, I have not ended up having the best day to test drive a car like this, but oh my Lord, it is so good. Second time round, I am still a big fan of this car, and in fact, I would have one in the blink of an eye if I was more confident about the infrastructure, the EV infrastructure, because I would have nowhere to charge this at home. I live in central London, I street park my cars or keep them in storage, and so I couldn't have one of these at my house. And then in addition to that, I really can't be arsed having to wait an hour and a half or however long it takes to charge the car on some of my longer journeys, because let's face it, I do a lot of longer journeys, and I know that you can charge these things now incredibly quickly if you find a sort of supercharger, but there basically are no superchargers in the UK, and even still outside of the UK, they're hard to come by. And in this sort of COVID world, the last thing I want to do is have to stand around outside a closed service station or cafe waiting for the car to charge up. And that's the frustration, because this is a brilliant, brilliant vehicle, but I just don't feel like the world is ready for it yet. So my feeling is still go out there and buy Panameras and 911, because this isn't better than a Panamera or a 911. It's just a bit more forward thinking. It's preparing itself for the future. And my feeling is that in 5-10 years, when the UK's EV infrastructure is a bit better, think how much better the Taycan's going to be. I mean, look at a 996 GT3 compared to a 991 GT3, less than 20 years of development, and the car is, I mean, it's outrageously different. So I feel like the Taycan will just be unbelievable once the world is kind of ready for it. Does that make sense? For now, I'm going to hand it back to Porsche UK going, well done, you did an amazing job, but I want the naturally aspirated car sitting over there, the 718 Spyder that I really came to pick up. So yes, for some reason, my windows are getting very fogged up, which means it's time that I go back to Porsche UK and swap cars. Well, this is a very different environment, but a dry one, thank God. I mean, I might not get coronavirus today, but I'm going to get a cold or something. I have got so wet filming this video. As you can imagine, full review of this car coming in a few days' time, because today is not the kind of day to be experiencing the Spyder, and really you have to experience the Spyder with the roof off. It is a Spyder, it's not a convertible. We'll get into that. But for now, at least a bit of a teaser. Let's start up the car, because after spending a whole lot of time in an EV, an electric vehicle, I feel like I'm missing some naturally aspirated combustion engine kind of noise. So, sport there. I think that's all you have to do in a boxer Spyder. Oh, press clutch. Woo-hoo-hoo! It's a manual, press clutch. Wasn't really thinking right there. Oh, I'm so intrigued and excited as to how this car is going to be. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure to stay subscribed for plenty more videos to come, including a review of the 718 Spyder.